Here we are. So the next question is from Robin. My husband is currently the sole provider in our house. I am 6 months pregnant and not working. We've gone from living comfortably on 2 incomes to struggling on 1 income. The money is usually gone way too soon and we're broke for several days waiting for his next check. The problem is this: he earns more than enough for us to get by, but he wastes so much of it on video gaming and eating out. I'm doing everything possible to cut costs wherever I can. I'm doing fewer loads of laundries. I'm unplugging appliances when not in use. I've begun shopping at Aldi's, etc. I constantly gripe to him about his restaurant spending, but it falls on deaf ears. I cook at home, but he still eats out. He won't pack a lunch, so my question is this: what can I do when I'm the only one who sees his spending as a problem? Is there any advice for a couple when only one person is cutting costs and the other person spends like there's no tomorrow? I hate being the nagging fun sucker, but it's stressful that he won't take part in helping me to save money. Because he's a sole earner, he feels he needs to reward himself all the time with frivolous junk purchases. He even tells me he can't wait till I'm able to work again so we can blow even more money. We both have big dreams of owning a nice house someday. We're currently in a trailer, but this can never happen until we're both on the same page. Right now, we're on opposite sides of the planet when it comes to spending. I hope my rant wasn't too long. I haven't seen this topic covered in your videos. Any advice for a frustrated housewife who wants to cut costs and money-wasting husband who refuses to be wonderful?
Counseling.
Counseling. You have bigger problems than money.
The issue here isn't so much about the money, is about how the two of you are relating to each other. Realistically, the savings that you're doing turning off appliances and things, that's just going to be nothing in comparison to just completely blowing it on eating out.
Yeah.
And unless he can come to a place of recognizing how much stress this causes you and understanding, if you guys can't come to an understanding on that's never going to change.
Yeah, you guys have got to get on the same page. And if it's that bad, then that's a job for a counselor that you're going to need to go in and get counseling and get help for, because until you can get on the same page, you're not going to go anywhere. And
yeah, I think he really, if you haven't expressed it to him, the nagging part maybe is a bad idea, but if you haven't expressed it to him, how it makes you feel, like, this is really stressing me out all the time, and you're benefiting from going and eating out, and I make this, and it makes me feel like you don't appreciate the food that I'm making. Whatever, can I make something that you like better? Whatever, but realistically, it sounds like he just doesn't want to care about.
Yeah, and one thing you can do, if you can talk to him and try and reason with him. One thing you guys could do is something like, okay, you take $200 a month, him take $200 a month, $100, whatever. And that will be each of your fun money. So if he wants to use that money for eating out, then that's what he uses it for. And then you use the money that you have set aside for whatever you want. Now, that's only if he's going to be willing to do that, though. Otherwise, you need counseling, because you can't sit and nag him. It's not going to do any good to nag him. And it's not right for him to say, I'm earning the money, so you don't have any say in this either, because you're staying at home, keeping the home going, and that is extremely valuable.
And if he doesn't see that, that's the case where you guys need to probably go work that out with a counselor.
Yeah.
Because if he's going to be unreasonable on that.
Yeah. And, and one thing, Mike really came to the realization when we were close to being first married, how much I do during the day. And, he ended up being laid off, or was that when it was? I don't remember. It was sometime. But he realizes it takes a lot to take care of little kids and to keep the laundry and to keep food going. Just doctor's appointments and kids throwing stuff all over the house and going and picking it up, and especially when they're under the age of 5. It's a whole lot harder when they're under the age of 5. And so...
But I came to the situation with already some belief that there was some value in that. And so when I was unclear if Tara would explain it to me in a certain way, I realized, okay, well, I probably am not recognizing fully the value here.
Mm-hmm.
Partly, though, we did have to go to counseling after the first couple of years because a lot of the single living things that
Mm-hmm.
people have are not appropriate when you're married.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, sorry. Somebody made a comment here and I lost it. So, I know what it was. Somebody said, maybe you should sit down with the finances. If you guys haven't sat down, then sit down and write out all how much the electric bill is, the water bill, the mortgage, how much he's eating out. Add it all up. If he puts it on a debit or a credit card, add it all up. Maybe he just doesn't realize how much he's spending.
Well, if he uses a credit card, that could easily be the case.
Yeah, because we had one reader one time. We have an article called "Stop Eating Your Way into Debt," and one reader said that her and her husband spent $22,000 in 1 year only eating out. She said we about freaked out when we saw that number. We could not believe it. They
didn't even realize they were doing it. So
all they did was ask for a receipt, and they just saved the receipt. And at the end of the year, they added it all up. Just because she didn't believe me, she said I didn't believe that we were eating that much out. $22,000. That's a huge amount of money. So,
but when you talk to him about it, if you can try to be careful with the words, to be more, this is how this is making me feel, it's stressing me out, I look at these numbers, here they are. But if it's nagging, like, you always do this, or, why are you going to go do that when I'm sitting here, even though that may be true, he's not going to respond well to that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're, if you're not doing the nagging thing, you're being, you're trying to be delicate about it or diplomatic about it, but he's just not responding, then that's more of an issue of, does he have the respect for you that he should have at this point?
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean, oh, hey, I'm just going to leave. But that's generally when it's good to get a counselor involved, because then you get another person, and that person has more opportunity to realize, maybe I'm being a little unreasonable, or a lot unreasonable in this situation. But, just admitting a little bit of unreasonable and moving in the right direction is positive. Yeah,
that's true. So we're kind of finishing up answering our questions. The stream got split in two, so if you're just starting, this is actually the end of the video for today. If anybody has any questions, please put them up there real quick, and we will try to get them answered. Let's see. Please go check out livingonadime.com. That is where we have all the good stuff. We have lots of links on there. I'm putting in the description below links to all the articles on how to save on a new car, or if you should buy a new car, and how to get your husband to change his spending habits. How
Mike's story is on there.
Yeah, how Mike changed his spending habits. And Anne-Marie said she needs to have him save all the receipts for a month. Yeah, that's a great idea, because maybe he's just not realizing how much he's spending on that. So, let's see.
Well, and like I said, if you haven't been married that long, my story on the website has this about my experience with that. But prior to being married, my parents didn't share anything about our financial situation, the family financial situation. And when I got to college, they offered me a credit card. They said, hey, you deserve this. And I thought, oh, hey, I deserve it. Because, we all deserve something for nothing. So I ended up charging things, and I loved photography, and I liked eating out, and I would charge all that. And I didn't really see anything wrong with that. And then when we got married, I realized, man, I have some debt here that I brought into this. And now we have to try to make this household thing work out. And the expenses were more than I was paying by myself. And just had to realize, oh, hey, that's just not the way it can be at this time in our lives.
Yeah. Crystal says, we are married and have been for a long time, but he has his finances separate from mine, like we were when we were dating. Drives me crazy. He doesn't contribute to the household bills or groceries. What is he paying for?
Yeah, we're not fans of keeping
No.
your money separate if you're going to be married.
Yeah, if you're married,
should be all in.
Your finances, there is very, honestly, I don't know of a situation where I would say your finances should be separate. And if he's not contributing to the household bills, why are you putting up with that? I mean, there's no way. If I was working...
Oh, I didn't see that part.
Yeah, she says that drives me crazy that he doesn't contribute to the household bills or groceries.
So what is he paid for with that money?
Yeah, what's he paying for? If you want to post on there what is he paying for? Because there's no way. I would not put up with that. I'm sorry.
Well, the other thing is, as far as keeping the money, part of our keeping the money together thing is, Tara can always see what I'm spending money on. I can see what she's spending money on. We know if money's going away to some suspicious place, then we would be able to check that. But also, just, if it's separate, then I can have my high standard of living, and then she has to have her low standard of living. Well, okay,
so Crystal said he's paying for his truck and credit card. He pays his cell phone and trash. No way.
That's really not anything.
I'm sorry. Actually, that really hacks me off that you're letting him get by with it. I wouldn't do that. No. I would set down some ground rules, and he needs to be paying at least half the expenses for the household.
That's not really respectful for you at all. Do you guys have kids? I didn't see.
Yeah. Do you guys have kids or anything? I mean, if that's all he's paying for...
Because that means you're paying a lot more. I would think that you're paying a lot more of the expenses, and you have no responsibility for his truck. I mean, if you drive something that's paid for, or you're paying it for yourself, then his paying the truck doesn't really have any value in terms of the family budget, because it's his truck.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't. To me, that's just being a doormat and letting him run over you, and I would not do that. And my phone is ringing.
We're not going to answer it right now, though.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I wouldn't. Let's see. Crystal says, I pay the electric, phone, internet, groceries, insurance, and 3 kids' expensive.
What about the house? Who's paying for your rent or mortgage? Because I didn't see that on either of those. But are you paying for the rent in that, Crystal? Because there's no way I would put up with that. Let's see. So someone said, and I missed, I think it was maybe Christy, but I'm not sure. We'll get back to Crystal here if she gets in here. Okay. She said, have your kids ever rebelled against your frugal ways? No. Not really. It's all they've known, and actually they're embracing it more than we are now that they're having to pay their own bills. And really what we're seeing the payoff in some ways in that they're very entrepreneurial. And they're very, like our son, he's a killer negotiator. He can go in and get deals on things, and it's like, I think he's going to be one of those people that's going to be able to just wave his hand and create money out of the air. And it's mainly because it's given them the sense that money has value, and we don't want to waste it on things that are just going to be temporary. And they really are giving a lot of thought to how to make money now that they're getting close to the age of leaving. And they're really thinking a lot about the expenses that they're going to have when they move out. So all those things, I think, are greatly improved. And they never complained. Of course, we started them from the beginning with that. They have asked us before, hey, my kindergarten friends have a smartphone and they're playing video games on it at school. Can I have one too? And we pretty much just said, no, that's just not the way our family is.
So Crystal, to go back to Crystal, she says that their house is paid off. Okay. Well, still, if you're paying all those other expenses, he needs to be contributing at least half for all the kids and all the groceries and everything. There is no reason for him to be paying all that.
Really, I would encourage you to talk to him, have a heart-to-heart talk with him, and you guys might want to talk to a counselor too, because I really think it's not a very together thing to keep your money separate like that. unless you just don't want to share. But marriage is all about sharing, and if
Yeah.
you shouldn't get married if you don't want to share.
Yeah, one of our
way.
readers, I missed her name, but one of her said it's a partnership. You are not a partnership. This is a one-sided thing. He's getting all the perks and you're paying all the bills. I mean, that's just wrong. So yeah, I would not do that. And we aren't talking about, someone said my husband is disabled. We're not talking about someone who's disabled. Crystal said that her husband is working. When someone has a disability, that's a totally different situation. We totally get that sometimes guys will have a problem medically and not be able to work. That is not the situation we're talking about here. So anyway, yeah, that's a counseling situation there.
What's different when somebody can't control that situation, they just can't do it, or when they just choose not to do it, even though you're expressing that it's hurting you.
Yeah, and like for us, when we first got married, I made it perfectly clear that if we had kids, I was going to stay at home. But I was
before we got married.
Before we got married,
cleared that up.
And I made sure he knew that he would be paying the bills. And so I was disabled, but I even did try to work. I kept trying to work when we were first married, and it just didn't work. So then I take care of the house. Now, I'll be honest, I don't take care of it as well as I could if I was feeling good all the time. You know, more nights than not, it's every man for himself, or we'll take a freezer pizza and put it in the oven because I'm not feeling good. But if you have two healthy people living and working together, they need to contribute together. And here's a good example. One lady said, well, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I shouldn't have to do, X whatever. A good way to distribute the chores of the house is, if he's working 8 hours a day, you should be working 8 hours a day if you're staying at home. Now, is your 8 hours in the middle of the night up with the kids for 2 or 3 hours? Is your 8 hours, so that's a good way. I think, was it Amy Decision from the Tightwad Gazette, I think, had that idea. And really, that's it. You both are working together to build a home. So anyway, that's a good way.
And unfortunately, people don't think about this as much before they're married. But when people are married, instead of thinking, okay, how am I going to get my part of this and you're going to get your part of that, and I'm going to make sure you do your part and you're going to make sure I do my part, both partners should be more giving, in the sense like, okay, well, I might be doing a little more, but it's okay, I'm going to do that. But if one person is doing that and the other person is just taking, that's not equitable. Yeah. Basically, both people should be thinking of this as, how can I give to this relationship, rather than how can I get my piece of the action out of this relationship.
Yeah, and Big Bear Homestead said, I'm disabled vet and I homeschool the kids and run the homestead. My wife works, but it's still a team effort. Exactly. Crystal said about her situation, 2 kids are not biologically his, so I feel like I shouldn't ask for his help with that. Why not? If he married you and he knew you were coming with kids, I mean, I suppose if you're getting child support from the kids' dad or whatever, or if he died, you're getting Social Security or something, okay, that's fine, I guess. But
when somebody marries you, they should take you as you are with everything, and of course, you want to be honest with them ahead of time, which I'm sure you were. But people should say, okay, this is the whole package. Do I want it or not? And if not, then don't get married. Of course, I know if you're already married, that's...
Yeah. And Carol and Songbird 77777 are all saying it's a family. You shouldn't matter. He knew this when he married you. And, it's a package deal. He just says it's a package deal. Exactly. Okay, let's see. We've got any advice? Lori says, any advice for living in a high cost of living area? I live in Hawaii where the cost of living is twice the cost. I'm not sure what that means,
but it probably means twice the amount of income.
Twice the income. So for that situation, what we have found is usually incomes go with the cost of living. So give or take. I mean, you know, Mike's a video producer. In Kansas, he could earn $35,000, but it wouldn't cost us that much to live in Kansas. In New York City, he would make $100,000, but our cost of living would be through the roof. As far as cost of living goes, you just have to do everything you can to be frugal if you're not willing to move. The other option is move. We have moved when we were first married. We left Colorado because the cost of living was too high for us for what Mike was earning at the time. And we were having problems with his parents, so that kind of pushed us over the edge to leave, was his parents. So we needed to leave that situation also, and that was kind of what threw us over. But, you know, there is the option of moving, and
I know it's hard if you're in Hawaii to
yeah.
move, but typically there are ways. We just found a lot of ways to cut things, but at some level you have, when you cut, if you really cut, then you have to find a way to make more money or move. But some people have a really high standard of what cutting to the bone is.
Yeah, and someone said that Summer said, I went to Hawaii a month ago and a lot of people said they have to work 2 jobs to live there. Well, yeah, if you're going to live there, that's your choice, and you may have to work 2 jobs. And I understand if you have family there or something, it's hard, but you know, that's the choice you have to make.
Basically, if there's a way to for a long-term plan to think about how to get into a work situation that does pay more or that's entrepreneurial, and you can just try to push it to get more customers so that it pays more, or you go off the island for a while and try to regroup and then figure out how to go back. That's kind of what we did with Colorado. We left and we were in Idaho where our house was $27,000. If we had bought a house here at the time, it would have been $200,000.
Yeah.
So
we made the decision to move because we couldn't afford it. So Sue wants to know if you're an only child. Well, open that can of worms. Biologically, no.
I had 2 siblings. We went into some struggles with one of them.
He's the oldest of 3, but due to some really bad family things that went on the last couple of years, he is in contact with 1. But yeah,
I am the firstborn.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see. Alicia says, I love your family. You guys are awesome. Thank you. I can really relate to your mom's story. Hearing how she's handled it has been helpful. Oh, great. We are planning on getting Mom on more. We're still having technical issues, so we're trying to get it worked out.
We thought we were past all that today.
Yeah, we thought we were. Yes, and Big Bear Homestead said he's a vet. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
We do appreciate you fighting for our freedom. We really do. Let's see. Sorry, guys.
Reviewing comments. Reviewing.
Yeah, I'm reviewing. Let's see. Okay, so Melissa wants to know, what is a reasonable weekly budget for a family of 4? We can't seem to stay on budget that I set.
Kind of depends where you are, doesn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, so food varies from place to place. Our food budget did go up when we moved from Colorado to Kansas because we don't have an Aldi here. A reasonable budget, it depends on where you're at. If you're in New York City, it's going to be way higher than if you're in Wichita, Kansas. So I'll give you some numbers that we have. In Wichita, we were spending about $350 for 6 of us. That was ages, Mike and I, and then ages 13 down to newborn. That did not include formula for the newborn. That was just our grocery bills. And that did not include cleaning supplies. I do not include cleaning supplies. Now it's higher, but I haven't gone through and recalculated yet. It's probably around $600 or so. But I'm gluten-free. Mike's gluten-free mostly. And we have...
mostly gluten-free. Sorry. I make obscure movie references randomly.
The doctor keeps putting me on really weird, wacko diets, so I keep going on all these weird foods and stuff. And so our food budget is kind of chaotic right now, but I would say, do I spend $600 weekly? No, that's a month. $350 a month was what we paid in Kansas. So, we do pay more now.
Kathy thought she heard that I have cancer. I do not have cancer.
No,
I saw somebody mention something about cancer, but didn't see
Oh,
what it
no,
was.
our brother-in-law.
Oh, right.
When we were in Kansas deciding to move, the video may have cut out. One of the reasons why we decided to move from Kansas back to Colorado and take a loss on our house was because our brother-in-law came down with terminal cancer. He had lung, colon, and liver cancer. And so we came back to try and help them out. And in the end, he did die 2 years ago, and our niece is now living with us. So, yeah. Let's see. Anne Marie says, we are a family of 5 with 3 teenage boys, and I've started making all my own cleaning products and laundry detergent. It saves money and natural and toxic-free cleaning. Yeah. Trish wants to know, do you coupon? No, I do not use coupons. I hate coupons. They drive me crazy. I can never match the coupon with the sale. They're either expired or the store's out of whatever it is. So no, I don't coupon.
And we don't buy very many name brand items.
Mostly generics,
so it's usually less expensive not to use them in that case.
Uh-huh.